Watching.
It would help if I turned up my mic at all. Duh. All right, let's get this show on the road. So, hello and welcome. My name is Brendan. This is. Oh, sorry, messed up my intro. It's been a while since I've done that. All right, hello and welcome to Accidental Origin, your weekly writing web show. My name is Brendan. This is my show. How's it going, guys? What are you up to? What's going on? How's the audio? Is it good? Too loud? Too quiet? Let me know. Let me know. I will fix it. Just waiting for the delay to catch up for a sec there. Okay. So a couple things before we get into today. Last week on Monday, we started the other show here on Accidental Origin called Rewrite. It's a bi-weekly book club, so every second week we do an episode. So last week we did an episode. Next week we're doing an episode on the 20th, March 20th. The first book we read, we read the first half of The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski. The second episode is going to be the second half of this book. This is the first book in the Witcher series. I think it went pretty well. There's always a little bit of learning curve when you're doing something different and new, like that. Yeah, we had like sort of a a slow start, but it ramped up as the show went on. But I enjoyed it. It was good. It was a good time. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Sam. The last half of The Last Wish, the first book of the Witcher series. It's it's kind of the other one was even harder. I was writing descriptions for the YouTube channel and all that, which you can see down in the description below here. Underneath my channel, there's a bar. But it's like the first episode of Read Write, where we read the first half of The Last Wish, the first book of the Witcher series. Just like Jesus, so many firsts and lasts. But yeah. Oh yeah. So that is available as a podcast. So you can download it and listen to it on your own time. Uh, so you don't have to tune into the episodes of that, but there's also the YouTube and all that. And I think that show translates pretty well to sort of a more VOD style of consumption because of the nature of it. So yeah. Okay. So this week we are going to be doing I want to say something a little different, but I don't know if it's actually all that different from what I usually do. It depends. I have a tendency to do a lot of like pseudo spontaneous things when it comes to the show. Um, so I was talking to Sam last night, and I was like, "Hey, so like, what do you think I should do on the show tomorrow?" I was like throwing around some options, and eventually he made a suggestion, and I think that suggestion was very good. So we're gonna try to do it, but I don't have a ton of ideas right this second, which is okay. I mean, that's kind of again part of the process, and if there's anything that we're about on Accidental Origin, it's showing the process, showing us that, yeah, you guys get what I'm saying. Do people tell you that? That's good. Um, that's good. So yeah, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be talking about this. Just trying to formulate my thoughts rather than just keep talking. Uh, so, if you haven't heard me talk about it before, there's a site called Duotrope. It's a great site if you want to submit stuff to magazines, because it has sort of a general repository of magazines where it has basic submission guidelines and all that. You should always go to the publication's website to find out the specifics. That's always a good call. But it kind of gives you a list, and it helps you keep track of your submissions to places. I started using it when I started submitting to magazines recently. I really like it. I know Sam uses it. Yeah, very good stuff. It's like $60 a year, which I think is well worth the price for what it does. But one of the other things it does is it has this sort of interview with an editor thing. So these interviews with the editors has, I'll get to that in a sec, Sam. Has a lot more information about what the publication's kind of looking for. I really like it. And this information is actually freely available. It's really only the submission stuff and some of the other things like statistics and all that. Well, this one has some. Is that because I'm logged in? Am I logged in? Yeah, I'm logged in. That's why. I was going to say. So, anyway, the whole point of this is that there's a really Apex magazine is a very interesting magazine. They specialized in like sci-fi, fantasy, horror, especially weird and twisted stuff. And how did I find them? They were part of something. God, my thought process is all over the place today. What was it? It was the Hugo Award for Best Semi-Prosian. Was it Hugo? Or was it Nebula? Oh God, why am I? Hugo. That's a Hugo Award, right? Yeah, okay. God, man. Forgot what I was talking about for a sec there. Yeah, so they're one of the nominees in the last few years. Like they've been nominated 4 times in the last 5 years. I don't know what that is. In EGOT? Have they? Or this spaceman that you're talking about? Anyway. The point being, I guess the point of all of this is that I really love this description that they have here. And so I kind of wanted to push my writing. A lot of the stuff I do on Accidental Origin is fairly safe. It's very basic. I do it as practice stuff. And I thought it might, well, Sam's suggestion, I thought it might be a good idea to kind of push my own boundaries a bit and do some more dark speculative writing, push it further, you know. So I'm gonna read off this description because I think it's great, and so you guys kind of have a reference if you're not glued to the screen. But says here, we do not want hackneyed, cliche plots or neat, tidy stories that take no risk. We do not want idea stories without character development or prose style. nor do we want derivative fantasy with Tolkien serial numbers filed off. What we want is sheer, unvarnished awesomeness. We want the stories it scared you to write. We want stories full of marrow and passion, stories that are twisted, strange, and beautiful. We want science fiction, fantasy, horror, and mashups of all three. The dark, weird stuff down at the bottom of your little literary heart. This magazine is not a publication credit. It is a place to put your secret places and dreams on display. Just so long as they have a dark speculative fiction element, we aren't here for the quotient. There we go, if I can pronounce things. Keep in mind that the search for awesome stories is as difficult as writing them. If you are rejected, don't get angry. Instead, become more awesome. Write something better and better until we have to accept you because we have been laid low by your tail. It really is that simple. And when we were talking yesterday, Sam made a good point in that, their description is what they're looking for. It's about that sort of deep delve, that push for more. Dig deeper within yourself to get something really and truly unique. So, we're going to attempt that today. And I have no idea if we're going to succeed. But yeah, we're going to try it. Because I think it's important. I think pushing yourself as an artist, as a creative person, is an important part of what it means to be a creative person. If we always just stay in our safe bubble, we will never get better at what we do. So yeah, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about what I'm trying to do today? And as always, feel like Nightbot just threw it up there, but feel free to ask questions. Ask me what I'm doing. Ask me if something is unclear. I'm happy to answer all of your questions. I'm happy to talk about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and all that stuff. We're all here to learn, right? Myself as well. I'm nowhere near perfect. And that won't be changing anytime soon. So, thoughts that I have. Let's do some brainstorming. Let's do some things. Let's figure this out. So thoughts. I find it interesting that they and part of this is like part of why this is actually a really good thing to practice right now is it kind of gets you in the habit of thinking about what a magazine is looking for. What what are they looking for? What are you trying to do? God, that sentence made no sense. What I mean to say is it's about, knowing what your market is. knowing where you're going to publish something, where you're going to submit something for publishing, and how well it fits to what they're trying to do. And recognizing those elements. So one of the things that I think is really interesting about this magazine is that they specifically mention mashing up sci-fi, fantasy, and horror. Which is really interesting to me. So there's definitely that. What else? What other things do I think? I'm just going to move this over to the other window so I can see it. Dark. It's always interesting, and there's a lot of ways we can interpret dark as a genre or as a style, I guess. The most apparent one to me always is film noir, that sort of grit and pulp sort of style action. Dark also means a lot of night. So yeah, I'm gonna make some notes. Things I'm thinking. Night, vampires, supernatural creatures. That sort of thing. Dark can also mean twisted. So things that are messed up. What else? They like risks. Risk is always an interesting thing. It means they're looking for more experimental stuff. It means they're looking for stuff that lays bare the soul of the writer. So in a lot of ways, to me, that reads like it should be very personal writing. Things that are passionate, strange, beautiful. You know, secret places, dreams. What else? And feel free to throw out some suggestions, guys. Like, I'm perfectly willing to entertain them, as it were. So, what are things that I think kind of inspire these sort of elements? When I was talking there, some of the things that came to mind were Guillermo del Toro in general, but more specifically things like Hellboy 2, and The Strain. What else? I guess Pan's Labyrinth to a certain extent is pretty dark. If I could spell, which I can't, so you know, it is what it is. Yeah, and then to a certain extent, Jim Henson. Talk about things like The Dark Crystal and what was the other thing I was thinking of by Jim Henson? There was something else that I thought was really interesting. There was something else I was thinking of, and it wasn't Farscape. Man, what am I thinking of? Oh, Labyrinth. Probably. I'm pretty sure that's what I was thinking of, because that's pretty dark. I think there was something else too. I'm looking at the Jim Henson's IMDb right now. Yeah, The Dark Crystal, for sure. For sure. Yeah, that's all I got at the moment. Is those two. Of course, one of my favorite writers of all time, Jorge Luis Borges. All about that darkness and twisted. All about labyrinths. Starting to see a common theme here. And then I'm reminded of something, a blurb. H.P. Lovecraft, of course. Can't do twisted like H.P. Lovecraft. I'm reminded of a blurb. Yeah. So this blurb, and I think there might be another one. Yeah, so I have two blurbs here, and they're actually related. Let's go back to my thing here. Back to this. So I have here Scott McCloud's The Sculptor. See there, the best graphic novel I read in years, Neil Gaiman. I'm a huge fan of Scott McCloud. If you haven't heard me talk about Scott McCloud before, I will do so now, briefly. And then I have here Brian Lee O'Malley's Seconds, a graphic novel. Brian Lee O'Malley being the guy who wrote Scott Pilgrim, which was great, by the way. You should read both the comic and watch the movie. They're both the same premise, but very different in terms of execution. But I like them both. They both effectively do a lot of things. But yeah. So Scott McCloud is one of my favorite writers ever. Famous comic book writers anyway. He's an independent cartoonist. His most famous piece is a book called Understanding Comics, which I don't actually own at the moment because I've actually owned several copies of it, and I keep giving them away to people, which is fine because I just want to spread the love of that book so much. So I'm cool with that. It's just, I don't actually have a copy for myself right now, though I do own his other two books in that series, Making Comics and Reinventing Comics, which are on that shelf right there. See if I get my finger. Yeah, right there. All right. So I love Scott McCloud. I have his Zot book, like the complete black and white Zot. So I love the non-color issues of Zot. Yeah, I love him to death. I think he's a great storyteller. In a lot of ways, Zot is dark. It explores dark themes within a very bright and pretty world, which I kind of love. It takes place in that sort of Tomorrowland future, and sort of traveling between today and that future, and it gets deep and dark. So Scott McCloud. So, the reason I wanted to talk about these two blurbs is two reasons. So, one, this is the description of the sculptor. A spellbinding urban fable about a childhood wish, a deal with death, the price of art, the value of life, and a desperate love. And I love that description because it invokes so many things. And I mean, it talks about art. It talks about, death. It talks about love, desperation, value. Like, there's lots of really interesting things that I like in that descriptor. So we got death, art, price / value, desperation, love. So there's that. Plus, the art on the back here is super cool. Look at these calendars with like days falling out like they're pitfalls. That's so cool. So then I pulled Brian Lee O'Malley again for that sort of cool blurbs on the back here. And funnily enough, though I hadn't realized it, the two blurbs on the back of this book, the first one is from Guillermo del Toro, and the second one is from Scott McCloud. So it is what it is. But they go as follows. In Seconds, Brian Lee O'Malley plays the angst of use against the fabric of a larger epic. In doing so, he enriches both. A great ride, Guillermo del Toro. But here's the one that really strikes home with me, and again, maybe that's just because Scott McCloud is like one of my personal heroes, but Brian Lee O'Malley's Seconds is adorable, haunting, funny, and beautiful. A perfect recipe for a great graphic novel. It's that juxtaposition of adorable and haunting that really, really strike me. So there's that. So that's Scott McCloud's blurb. Yeah, and you're totally right, Sam. It is kind of a swirling circle of blurbs. Uh, I think that's because a lot of the people that I like the things that I like. Like when you buy an H.P. Lovecraft book, like I own. Yeah, you can see it there. It's a little blurry, but it's this book here, the big thick one. That's the annotated H.P. Lovecraft, with an introduction by another one of my personal heroes, Alan Moore, and the person who annotated it is the guy who did the annotated Sandman by Neil Gaiman. So there's certainly that. And when you see like the Scott McCloud book, like the blurb on the front is a Neil Gaiman quote. Like, I think the things that I like are just the things that the people I like as well. Like we like similar things, as it were. And I think Alan Moore is a great example to put to this list. Not his, not necessarily the more mainstream stuff, though I guess it depends on your definition of mainstream. But I really think of his 2000 AD work. So like, The Ballad of Halo Jones, and DR and Quinch. Also, to a certain extent, V for Vendetta, and From Hell, which is my personal favorite Alan Moore story, From Hell. And talking about these inspirations, I'm going to go back to the screen here so you can see that I added all this stuff. But talking about my inspirations is kind of important to this conversation. Again, I'll go back to that description where it talks about, your secret places and dreams. And what else is here? So, full of marrow and passion. The bottom of your little literary heart. Secret places and dreams on display. The stories it scared you to write. And in a lot of ways, these are the people who have influenced me as a writer. These are the people who have touched my soul, who have pushed what I want as a writer. Have challenged the way that I think about writing, have challenged the way I think about story, have made those works that resonate you for years to come. Oh, and I'm forgetting, of course, the master mangaka himself, Yashishiro Tatsumi. Everything he does is dark and twisted. And to a certain extent, the later works of Osamu Tezuka. So more specifically, the Ode to Kirihito, the Ode to Kirihito, MW, The Secret Life of Bugs. Is that what it's called? No, I'm totally wrong. It's Ayako and the Book of Human Insects, which is such a cool title, by the way. So, Tetsuka has done a ton of different stuff over the years. He was super prolific, but these are the books that I really like. These are the books that I own, and they're dark and twisted. MW is about a guy who was hit by an experimental nerve gas and turned into a serial killer. The Ode to Hirohito is about a man turning into a beast. The Book of Human Insects is kind of about this weird alienation. Kind of similar to like Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis in a lot of ways, but without the weird transformation. So there's that. Ayako. I remember Ayako. I remember scenes from Ayako. I'm just trying to remember why I picked Ayako. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, okay. Here's the description for Ayako. Jiro Tenge, one of the eldest sons of the moderately wealthy Tenge family, has become an agent working for the United States, and his secret murders are discovered by Ayako Tenge, his younger sister. The problem is aggravated by her discovery of terrible incestuous affairs in her own family. The wife of her older brother is actually her mother, who has to frequently have sex with Ayako's father, the family patriarch, Sakuman. To hide these secrets, the family, under pressure from Sakuman and his elder son Ichiro, decides to keep Ayako locked up in the basement for the rest of her life. Despite the efforts of her mother and brother, Shiro, she lives for nearly 24 years under the family's house, while great political and social changes occur above her. Ayako eventually leaves the basement after growing into a beautiful and attractive woman, and seeks affection from others while remaining terrified of the outside world. That sets off a chain reaction of events which spells tragedy for the Tenge family. That is dark and twisted. So, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about dark and twisted? What elements do you see within it? Because I'm getting a lot of sense of, and I'm gonna make a brainstorming 2 here. Whoop, that's the wrong thing. So, things that I think are very common within kind of the things that I'm talking about. Labyrinths. That I still can't spell. Yes, I 100% agree, Sam. Some kind of fear. Or strong tension, powerful uncertainty. Yes, I agree. I think, and I was just thinking of this before you said it, that a lot of that has to do with unfathomable human nature. Or I guess character nature is more accurate. In that a lot of that fear is created by us not understanding. Right? Fear through alienation. I think, and alienation is actually a great topic for that dark and twisted. We often talk as writers about the idea of the outsider, someone who is outside. And this character is great. The outsider is always a great character, and it's done a lot. But I think in terms of these dark and twisted things, that the outsider, at least from, I think, in terms of like Yashishiro Tatsumi's work and all that, like the outsider is all of us. We're all outsiders in our own way. And I think that resounds pretty heavily in his work. And when I say the outsiders, all of us, I don't mean that like we're all outsiders, therefore we should be outsiders together or anything like that. I mean that like everyone feels alienated within and of themselves. And that drives our confusion. It drives that sort of strong tension, powerful uncertainty. And that we don't understand the people around us, but we're afraid of being alone. So we push boundaries. And it doesn't always work. Or attempt to summarize that. What else? I'm gonna do about 10 more minutes of brainstorming, and then I'm gonna take my break. And then when I come back, we're gonna start forming this into a story. We're gonna take these thematics and start influencing a very character driven story. I think anything to do with sort of those secrets and all that have to be a character driven piece, because plot does not make fear. Character makes fear. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of that has to do, if you just trying to, I have 1,000 swirling thoughts. I'm trying to piece together a lot of ideas right now. But yeah, fear can definitely be created from ambiance and situation, and that's kind of where I was going. Is that fear comes not from the oh God, thinking of that quote from, why am I blanking? Alfred Hitchcock. Wow, that's sad. Yes. The quote I'm thinking of is, "There is no terror in the bang, only in the only in the anticipation of it." So I think that goes with what you're saying, Sam. That ambiance and situation can create fear for sure. And ambiance and situation comes from the plot more than the character. That being said, my point was kind of like, oh, here's a good example. So when you're watching an action movie, like a straight action movie, like something like Sylvester Stallone did in the 90s, someone pulls a gun on him, we don't really get scared. Because we know that A, he's not scared, and B, the character that's facing him isn't particularly scary. But then you put that same situation in a movie where the main, or in a story where the main character gets terrified, gets absolutely scared of the gun, it has more impact. It creates a sort of fear, Hey Robin, how's it going? Yeah, that sounds really cool, Sam. Spooky spaceman with weird whispers and radio static. I love that kind of thing. I love scary spaceman. I really do. Scary astronauts are the coolest. What there was a really interesting comic book I read. That was some sort of ghost hunter book. I think it was called Ghost Hunters. Maybe it wasn't. And one of the coolest characters they had was they actually had a ghost astronaut who followed them around. He has like a burning skull inside a ghost thing. I gotta know. God, what was that book? I'm trying to remember who it was by. Metal Gear Solid 3 is the Fury. I came back from space. Yeah. Yeah, totally. It was really neat because he was kind of the astronaut was kind of the muscle of the group in a lot of ways, and he never spoke. He was just kind of always there. It was great. I mean, it wasn't particularly scary, but that comic wasn't meant to be scary. So, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm just gonna find this real quick, and then I'm going to take my break. Spooky Spaceman. Actually, I can show you what I'm looking at as well. I might as well. I'm just like flipping through a couple of publishers because I know it wasn't. I know it was like either IDW or it was like IDW or Dark Horse or like Boom or Monkey Brain, something like that. It was one of the bigger small publishers. I'm pretty sure. And normally you'd say, well, B-Row, why don't you just look through your purchases to find it? It's actually because there's so much stuff in there that it's impossible to sort. So it takes way longer. Nice. Put these two together. Inspiration images. Astronauts on fire. Oh, you know what? It was it's just coming to me. I think it was the same publisher who did that ridiculous um remember that Secret Agent Teddy Bear comic we were talking about like ages ago? That's probably almost a year ago now. But that comic, it's the same publisher as that. I just got to remember who that was. I thought it was Image. Maybe it wasn't. Well, Image does have a comic called Astronauts in Trouble. Which sounds hilarious. I just think. Exactly, Sam. Exactly. Apparently, it's the series that brought Charlie Adlard, the original artist of, or one of the artists of The Walking Dead, to Robert Kirkman's attention. I'll show you the thing here, because I have it. In 1959, the Channel 7 news team covers a routine homicide that leads them to a mysterious rocket base in Peru filled with Russian spies. All in a day's work for the most trusted newsmen in America, they couldn't know their day would end up with a hot pilot, a fast ship, cheap beer, and spacesuits. Sounds great. I'd read that. I wish there was a way to filter out. Sounds like my weekends. Nice. Nice. Oh, it's by this publisher. For sure. It's by Boom Studios. Okay, cool. That makes things easy. See? I know what I'm talking about. It was one of the bigger, smaller publishers. I'm a big fan of Boom Studios, by the way. They publish a lot of really good stuff. Irredeemable, uh, Incorruptible and Irredeemable are great. If you haven't read them, you should. Clockwork Angels was really good as well. Oh, look, The Expanse. There's Imagine Agents with our secret agent teddy bear. Jim Henson stuff. Oh, fair enough. I think it's just like a short tie-in. I don't think it's meant to be anything particularly crazy. It's not here. Hmm. Can't figure it out. All right. Well, I'm gonna take a break, and then when I come back, we're gonna add some more stuff to this. I will say, when I was looking at that stuff, I was thinking of Gravity in terms of a film. I think Gravity is a great, such a great, dark, like, powerful story, and I think it has a lot to do with what we're talking about. So if I could speak, the unknown is a huge element of what we're going to be trying to do, because it's the unknown that terrifies us. So yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna take a 10-minute break, and I'll be back, and we're gonna start making a story. Cool. Cool. All right. Break time. All right, I'm back. Let's do this. Oh yeah, I found the series, by the way. If you didn't see the link posted, it's called Hoax Hunters. It's published by Image Comics. Yeah, it's got a crazy, scary astronaut who's inhabited by ravens. Something to do with 0 point energy black holes. Yeah. Just a cool character overall. Interesting. Anyway, sorry. Cool. Close all that stuff. So, let's start brainstorming number 3. Brainstorming 2 more than the first. Brainstorming 3 the fusion. Sounds like bad movie titles. But it is what it is. Okay. So, what kind of story do we want to tell? We've talked a lot about sort of weird brainstorming 4, son of brainstorming. That's amazing. Now, hey Sam, is it cool if I read this on stream? Because I kind of want to. But I'll ask your permission first. Dun, dun, dun. Oh yeah, absolutely cool. Okay, we're gonna do it. Oh, if you're not following Burial at Sea, you should be, because that's where you're gonna find all of the info on rewrite stuff and the ridiculous 2-score tales of our D&D adventures. Me, Sam, and a few of our buddies. But yeah, let's read this. Dark Whispers. Hey Sam, you didn't change the font yet. I'm disappointed. When I first laid eyes on him, I could hear the armor plates of his suit clank and grind together. The sounds rang clear in my mind, even with the vacuum of orbit clawing at us both. He hung there, a black outline against a black background. It took an eternity for me to toggle my radio and issue the standard warning. Unidentified spacewalker, you are entering a restricted volume. Remove yourself or you will be removed. I felt like someone else was speaking. I raised my gloved hand to point, more aware than ever of the thin film separating my flesh from the void. Even the hiss of the radio seemed to whisper faint threats. Violence attenuated across the billions of years between here and the Big Bang. He was much closer now, and I could smell the sour stench of my sweat. It boiled up into my helmet, forcing its way into my nostrils. I tried to focus. He was closer again, not seeming to traverse the distance between points, but simply blinking between them. My radio blared and a voice clawed its way into my skull. How are you here? How did you get into my home? That's cool. I like it. I would, well, is there a restriction on how many words you're allowed for those, Sam? Around 200. It's 201. Okay. Because I was gonna say, I would have liked to have you. Well, I would have really liked it if you had played up that sort of weird anticipation more. But if you don't have like a lot of space, then you can't really do it. Like this third paragraph, I feel like could have been 2 or 3 paragraphs and would have been really good. But yeah, it's good. I like it. Cool. So, so the one thing that I'm very interested in exploring with this piece is that the idea of a science fiction fantasy horror mashup really appeals to me. I like that idea. And when I was looking at this, when we look at stuff like The Strain, for example, I think The Strain's a good example for what we're talking about. The Strain is a vampire story, but it deals a lot with folklore and magic, so fantasy elements, but also science fiction in terms of like weird disease outbreak elements. So in a lot of ways, The Strain is kind of a sci-fi fantasy horror mashup, right? So there's that. But how do you get those elements? Like what elements of fantasy blend really well with elements of science fiction? A good example could be Star Wars. Star Wars as a space opera is very much based in a fantasy world. You know, they use swords and guns and spears and all kinds of other things, you know. They ride horses as well as spaceships. Obi-Wan Kenobi's Gandalf. It is what it is. I love Star Wars. But my point is that it's very much a blend of fantasy sci-fi. Not so much the horror elements, but fantasy sci-fi. I think in terms of what it is, horror is the easiest element to blend. Because horror can apply itself to any genre. I think of things like Gravity, right? Gravity is kind of a horror film. It won't market itself necessarily as a horror film, but it is a horror film. What else am I thinking about? You know, things like God, what's that? Dead Space, for example. Horror sci-fi. Very apparent. Horror fantasy is not done a ton, but I mean, if you think about H.P. Lovecraft, that could very much be horror fantasy. I guess horror fantasy as like in high fantasy horror is not done a ton. So that could be interesting to explore. Oh, you know what might be a really cool piece to do, Sam? I could write. Oh, this might actually be really, really cool. I should write a story, a short story that would tell the story. Oh man, that's too many stories. I should write a story version of the old ruins. I could write, but I could just sit here and talk. That'd be fun too. Because it'd be perfect. Like, I'm just thinking about it. Like, it's a post apocalyptic fantasy. Yeah, exactly. Like something exactly what I'm thinking. Like something like you would include as like a promo or like in the first chapter of the book, like after the introduction, there would just be like this piece, and it would be whatever. But this does exactly what we're kind of talking about because we got a post-apocalyptic fantasy, so it's fantasy with heavily science fiction and modern day tech elements and weirdness. Again, like I was saying, the horror can easily be added. If we want to do horror, we don't have to do horror. I'm not saying we have to. I'm just kind of trying to challenge myself. But I think the horror in it can be really cool because we can do this thing where they're dungeon delvers, so they're deep underground. And I'm gonna open up a second window here, and I'm gonna put this one to brainstorming 1. Darkness. We have that exploration of the unknown. Oh, I'm gonna lock this. So we have mazes, labyrinths. I spelled labyrinths correctly. Yay. Isolation. It's not something I have discussed too much in the old ruins itself, but I could see that society might set the cartographers apart. Um, let's say that what happens in the dungeon stays in the dungeon. The explorers don't necessarily talk about what's down there. So we, due to the nature of this dungeon, we easily got secret places, strange places, beauty, death, dreams. Though that's more up here in this kind of like dreams for the king and the cartographers. Yeah. All right. I'm liking this idea. I'm liking this idea a lot. So for those who don't know, I'll open up the file here actually. Might as well. Oh, where did I put it? I guess it's still over here. Got it. Okay. This is the Old Ruins. The Old Ruins is an RPG I designed. It's not a very good RPG. It's an RPG I designed for a 1 week, or is it 2 weeks? A 2-week design competition called Game Chef. No, it's a 1 week. That's what it is. It's definitely 1 week. Nine days is what it is. So yeah, it's something I designed. It's not very good. It's not done. This cover is drawn. This cover was drawn and illustrated by the lovely Drawny, who you can find at twitch.tv Drawny. There we go. There's the link. So yeah, it's kind of this weird, cool, post-apocalyptic fantasy sort of style game. It's all about technology, specifically map making. But I think that it would really, really translate itself well to this kind of thing, to what we're trying to do here. So let's plan it. Let's plan this story. Yeah. I have a question. Now that I think about it. I'm not sure if I want to write the story on stream. I definitely want to plan it on stream. That's going to happen. Like right now. It's going to happen. But I'm not sure I want to write the story on stream. The reason for that is that when I write something on stream, I'm kind of obligated to put it on my website, to put a draft of it on my website. It's kind of the point of Accidental Origin, and I don't want to break that point by not putting something on the website. Don't think it works very well. But if I put it on the website, then if I wanted to get it published in a magazine or something like that, it would have to be a reprint. And not a ton of magazines take reprints. So it drastically reduces your marketability of it. For example, Apex, which is kind of the magazine that we're designing this for, does not take reprints. They just don't. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. They do take reprints, but they only take solicited reprints. So they wouldn't actually, like, I couldn't put it on my website and then have them ask me to reprint it unless they somehow found my website and whatever. Which, it's not impossible. It can happen, but unlikely. And considering how strong of an idea I think this story is, it might be better to not do it on stream so that I can actually get it published. But I don't know, chat. I'd like to know what you think. So it's something I've been discussing with my friend Stevie Ray Drawn, who's a comic book artist and illustrator. About, like, sort of that idea of publishing, right? Like, it's self-publishing is totally a thing. I could theoretically self-publish it, much like I was planning on doing with Fear the Siren before I made it a comic book, where I could publish it on my website and then publish it on Amazon, sort of thing, as an short ebook. That is something I could do. So there is that. I don't know, but I'd like to know what you guys think. For example, if you guys really want to see the writing of it on stream, then I will do it. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to do it on streams, especially because I did all of the design work, or the vast majority of the design work, for the old ruins on stream. Oh, if anyone wants this PDF, it is on my website. You are allowed to make exceptions. What would be the exception, Sam? Not posting it on my site. The only issue is, though, that, and again, I'd have to look at it more. It gets really complicated. But if the video of me writing it is on my site and on my YouTube, then does that count as it being published? Dun dun dun. Welcome to the business of being a writer and publishing rights. Publishing rights are great. Just looking at a contract here. The nice thing about Apex is they actually put their contract on the website, which is sweet. It's good to read it. And you should read contracts and stuff like that. You should get to know what people are talking about, what the language people are using when they talk about writing. But you should write something. Yes, thanks, Sam. Thanks for reminding me. What I could do is I could start it and then do the rest off stream, and that probably wouldn't count because it wouldn't be more than like a publishing blurb, basically. I don't know. I'll have to do a lot more research on that too. I've read a few things about it, about what constitutes as first rights and what doesn't, and all that stuff. Um, but if anyone has any links that they want to shoot me across, you could link me on Twitter, or there's an email on the website there for you to contact me. I'd like to see some links on it where we could kind of learn about yeah, those rights, right? Like what is what? How does it all work? Okay, so let's unlock this. Go plat. Okay. So the old ruins. I'm gonna move this over to my other screen. Whoop. That's not what I wanted. There we go. Just copy some stuff across from the old ruins. Cool. All right. So our character is a cartographer. Who is he? What is his name? What do we do here? What is our plot? I know of a couple of scenes I think would be good to write. For example, yeah. For example, Hank. I'm not calling him Hank. Why do you want to call everyone Hank? Jim Bob Explorer, man. I mean, it has a better shot than Hank, but okay. I mean, the Explorer Man part is actually not a terrible idea. What did I call the city? The place where they're from is called Pitfield. Just trying to think, like, would we have creatures? Would there be weird creatures down there? Probably. There must be. There's gotta be. Just pulling some of the elements from what I'm doing. So, in medias res. In medias res. Characters. What other characters do we want? There'll definitely be at least 2 or 3 other explorers. So we're gonna call them Explorer A, Explorer B, Explorer C for now. And then there's Pitfield Guards. And villagers, I guess. Okay, plot. So we're gonna start it with MC Explorer Man being down in the dungeon. Then the second scene is going to be a flashback. Ganymede Everborn. Sure. Is that an actual character, or is that just something? That's Dr. Explorerman, thank you. Didn't go to Dungeon College for 8 years to have everyone ignore my title. Oh, that's funny. Jason Neo Satellite. I like that too. I'm gonna write those down. Andrew Funk Music. All right, I'm down. I agree. I think it's a good name. You guys can keep going with those, by the way. I will totally write them down as guards and or villagers. For later. I don't know if those will actually be characters, but just, I'll have a whole thing. I kind of like the idea of using doctor like a noble title. Is it supposed to be lowercase? I'll leave it lowercase if it's supposed to be lowercase. Okay, cool, I got it. Flashback. The king sends out a decree. Jimmy, not a bad guy? Done. I'm so down with that. That's fine. What was I thinking? So yeah, the king sends out a decree. That's a flashback. So in the Boku no Academia manga, which I really like, it's about superheroes and stuff. There's a guy named Tetsu 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 Tetsu. and I kind of just want to go like Dave, 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 Dave. I also want to have a character. I also want to have a character named Billy Bob Robert Williams. What? That's funny. But I was thinking there should be a game. There should be a guy who's like, I need a good first name. What should I use? You have 4 first names. It's also funny though because it's like Billy is like a short form of William and Bob is a short form of Robert, right? Yeah, exactly. I was thinking Douglas, no last name. Well, he's more of a villager. That's funny. That makes me laugh. King sends out a decree. Flashback. MC. Flashback. MC gets his start as a cartographer. Yeah, you told me that story, Sam. Jerry Blank. Yeah, totally stands for Michael Conrad and not main character. Not at all. The interesting thing is, in this weird post-apocalyptic society, I'm thinking of making like a bunch of these characters female. Like, for example, I think I kind of want like either Gilbert or Theodore to be a woman. And I kind of want Andrew Funk Music to be a woman. You know, mix it up, do some different things. So what creature do we want here? In the original text, I have orcs, trolls, goblins, ghouls, vampires, and mutants. But it doesn't have to be those. It could be something else. Mutant might be interesting because it kind of gives it that edge. Ordinary supporter? I'm cool with whatever, man. I'm just writing them down as possible names. You know, I can't guarantee that they'll make the story, but you never know. It also is good to do just because it's like then it's you start getting a really good feel for like what the story kind of like what the story feels like. You know, like the name Jason Neo Satellite in a weird fantasy world and stuff like that. Like really points out the oddness. You know, Andrew Funk Music. That's such a good name, Andrew Funk Music. I loved it. Gilbert Stab Demand is really good too. I like that one. Yeah, exactly. Like it's like that just different enough. But they're not like nicknames either, right? Like they're kind of just the weird way that language works over time when part of it's been destroyed. Sam, Bob just sent me a YouTube video and I don't know if I should watch it. Oh my god. Okay. Nope, not watching that on stream. What a guy. What a guy. So every paragraph here is going to be a new scene, basically, of our plot. Just kind of brainstorming some stuff out. What other stuff? So we've done enemies, creatures. Kind of did the bodies upon bodies. Kind of did trap rooms. At some point later on in the future, MC is going to find a piece of technology. It's going to be too big for him to move. Blazing syntax. That's so good. So good. This is kind of where I want him to get jumped. So Sam, what do we think about a cartography school? Is that a thing, or are they just kind of making it up as they go? Like, what's... Got to be a guild? Yeah, I kind of agree. So I think we want to do like a flashback guild here then. They have a secret handshake. They might. I like it. Alright, it's 2:15. I'm going to take a 5-minute break, and then I'm going to come back and work on this for another 40 minutes or so. I'm really liking the direction it's taking. I feel like it's starting to get really fleshed out. Yes. Yes. Okay, cool. All good. Yeah, we're gonna take a short break, only 5 minutes, and then we'll be back. Yeah, I'm really liking the direction this is going. I disagree. You don't need pants. It's fine. No one cares if you wear pants. I mean, it's not my fault, Robin. It's not my fault. Also, I'm not sure if you're saying that's a bad thing or not. Also, join my cabin. What? What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Oh. Isn't Nano not for like 8 months or something? There's a summer Nano now? What? I know nothing of this. Also, if I'm gonna do one of them in April, actually, that might be an interesting thing for April. There's a screenwriting one that happens in April, if I'm not mistaken, which might be hella awesome to do as part of. I don't know. I don't do NaNoWriMo. Do not have the organizational skills to be effective at it. So I don't do it. I respect the hell out of people who do. I think people should do it. I think it's good for you. It's just not my thing. I can't even find the other one. I can't remember what it's called. You're welcome. Thanks, I think, for something. I guess. You're face to face with greatness and it's strange. I've already been faced with greatness, Robin. His name is Andrew Funk Music. He may be the greatest person alive. Um, What do I... Excuse me. Oh, wow. Sure. Go ahead. We're only going to be on for another 25-30 minutes or so. There's a map making guild, yeah. Have I not? Oh yeah, you weren't here earlier. So this is a I was talking with Sam yesterday, and I decided to do a sort of weird piece of dark fiction, specifically for Apex Press, who I'm a big fan of at the moment. Their description is fantastic. I read it out at the beginning of the stream. It will be linked. I'll have a link to that stuff on the VOD. When I get that up and I get my website up to date, I promise I will get it up to date. I'm trying to work on it. I'll do some work on it today for sure. But yeah, I'm doing a story version of my terrible RPG, The Old Runes, which is available on my website right now. You can definitely find that. Yeah. God, man, you're so lazy. Am I? Or am I just crazy? I'm not. I actually just think it fits exactly everything that we were talking about. And yeah. And you know how not lazy I am. Like, how many ideas I output on a regular basis. So, like, whatever. Oh, updating the site. Yeah. I'm very lazy with that. It sucks. Yeah, you're probably about 20 seconds behind, give or take. That's usually about what it's been lately. Um, you should have me as a Skype guest. Sitting there making fun of me doesn't count as entertainment, Robin. I'm just kidding. It'd be actually pretty funny. I think this is kind of all that I want to do. Yeah. I think maybe a flashback here would be good. Just to break it up a bit. Oh yeah, Erica Drayton. Yeah. Erica Drayton is a lovely person. She is very, very much a big part of why the Twitch writer community is expanding. Yeah. You should all check her out if you aren't already. I assume most of my viewers are because of her and not the other way around. But you never know. I don't know, maybe some sort of the village moment. Shush you. Cool. I think we have the start of a pretty decent story here. Yeah. Okay, is there anything I'm missing for this story? Like, is there anything I need to flesh out before I could potentially start writing it? I don't think so. Character Academy? What's that? Is that your novel? I cannot keep track of all of your novels, Robin. I'm sorry. The runes themselves are the villain. It's kind of a survival story, so man versus nature in a way. Anything else? Anything else I'm missing? Yes, no, maybe so. I'll drop some frames. Interesting. uh Basically MC Explorer Man goes down into the dungeon. It goes down into the ruins, and shit happens. That's the gist. All right, Robin, hit me with your question. Why do we like our MC? I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. I haven't figured out who he is yet. But I think that's something I'm going to do during the writing process. Oh, are you taking the James Patterson masterclass? Is that what you're doing? That was something I meant to do and just kind of forgot about. But it is a good question. I don't know. I should just close this actually. No, that's cool. That's cool. It's just something I need to sit down and do, and I am a busy person. I am a busy person. Excuse me. What was it? 22? Do I really want to start writing this? Not really. I'm pretty happy with where we've gotten to. Yeah, so I guess I'm just going to open it up for the floor. If you have any questions, now is your time to ask. Be doing a brief Q&A before I close out the show. But yeah, I think that's all I'm gonna do for today. Though Sam's gonna be all like, "Oh, you didn't actually write anything. What are you doing?" Blah blah blah. It's not true. Oh, this would be I'm wrong. Oh, hey Allison, what's going on? For those of you who don't know, um, Allison Parker is the artist formerly known as Smishmosh22, who I host all the time. She's an awesome Canadian screenwriter, and a valuable part of the Twitch writing community, and the other person who gives me viewers. Because I give no one viewers. That's just the way it is. Yeah. You should all go follow her. I accept my place in the Twitch community. It's fine. It's fine. Yep. Yeah, I've been really enjoying the logline stuff. I think loglines are very important to any sort of writing process. Um, they kind of help you really boil down the meat of your story, right? Like that fundamental aspect of what a story is. Though, you know, yep. Yep. She also moderates the Twitch film community. That is true. I do not hang out in Discord nearly enough because I am a busy person. um, if you haven't heard, I'm a busy person. Yeah, trying to do all the writing things. Though, you know, it's all exciting. I've started submitting things to magazines. I'm doing the right stuff. Hopefully all the pieces will come together soon. Yes, and I appreciate that very much, Allison. I do. It feels weird to call you Allison though, by the way. Just want to like, yeah, thanks, Smish. What's up? I'm not making fun of log lines. They're awesome. Oh, you mean Sam? Yeah, Sam. Don't make fun of log lines, man. Come on. Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where like I use multiple Twitch names for those who don't know. Accidental Origin is my streaming account. I only use it for streaming. Um, but yeah, so you can call me Brendan. My regular Twitch name is Cosmic Zord. People call me Cosmic. I'm there all the time. Uh, I'm around. You guys are hilarious tonight, by the way. It's great. I'm loving it. People adjust to the time zone switch. Is that a thing other places? I don't actually know. Here in Canada, we we jump forward an hour today. Oh yeah, so Mafinator. A logline is basically a one-word summary of a story. It's traditionally used in film writing. Uh, it's traditionally used in film writing as a way of like a short pitch for a film. But a lot of novelists have been using it in the last few years. Probably the last 20 years, I guess. But a lot of people have been using it for noveling and short stories and all that because it's just a way of getting at that sort of deep part of your story, like what the important parts are. One word, one sentence. What? Yeah, one sentence. It's a one sentence. Shh. It's fine, guys. It's fine. So yeah. I don't know. I just set my alarm for the usual time, and it just meant I got up an hour later. So instead of having 2 hours before before the stream I had one, which is fine. A weekend of debauchery turns to terror for a group of friends staying at an old lumberjack camp when a bloodthirsty log springs to life and embarks on a murderous rampage. Oh man, that's the. I love the word embarks there. It's so good. It's so good. Sam would love to make that into a Shaggy Dog story. Yeah, you do a lot of horror comedies, don't you? Smish? I know your last one was a horror comedy, right? The one that you were tweeting about last night? Yeah. Okay. I like family films too. I don't know. I'm a weird writer. The last little while I've been spending time in this weird, like, dark, magic-y sort of place. Slothicator. I like that title so much. A Jason X has to count. I mean, it probably counts. Probably. I don't know. I'm not an expert on horror films. That's the joke I made, Sam. Her tweet was all like, yeah, it'll probably never get made. And I was like, well, I guess. But I keep seeing this Sharknado ad, so I mean, how hard could it be? Hey Robin, are you actually going to use this website this time? Because I'm not sure I believe you. Ridiculous has never stopped anyone before. What, is this not your Tumblr? Tumblr is a website, technically. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Good luck, Allison. Good luck. Oh, hey, Erica. What's up? Everyone's just showing up at different times, or like right near the end of my stream. What's going on? Oh yeah, yeah. I was talking about you. I was saying very nice things. Oh, no problem. We're all in this together in a way, right? So it is what it is. Oh, did you start reading Lock and Key? Please tell me you did. Oh, thanks, Erica. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm gonna be closing out very, very soon. Um, I finished pretty much everything I wanted to finish, and then was starting to do a Q&A, and then things just started snowballing. It's hard to do. It's hard to move your eyebrows. Good. I'm excited. I'm excited for you to read it. Like I really am. Oh, Erica, I forgot to mention, and this is part of closing out the stream. But all right, bye, Sam. Have fun with Voidburger. uh, Me and Sam, MC Pepper Pockets himself, have started a book club that we're streaming on Twitch bi-weekly, so every second week. The first episode was actually last week. The next episode will be next week. But we're reading The Last Wish by Andrei Sapkowski. I can't do an eyebrow wave. I can move them the same way all the time. But yeah, so we're gonna be finishing this for the next book club. Because I know that you're also the moderator of a readers group on Discord. So all the info for that is down in the description below. Yeah, I got a book club. We're starting a book club. Well, we've started a book club. So I gotta plug that every episode now. Yeah. Well, you're more than welcome to come discuss ours. Oh, actually, I'll ask you since I'm asking. So the way it works is me and Sam are the Sam's the host. I'm the main co-host, and then we have a guest host for the episodes. So if you wanted to be a guest host, we could make that happen. I'm not sure what the timing of that will be, but yeah, we can make that happen. Speaking of which, Sam, we need to book our second guest host for the next book. That is a thing we should do. Yeah. Okay. We'll make it happen. We will make it happen. Add Erica to the list, Sam. Add her to the list of hosts. Do it up. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much gonna be it for me for today. Yeah, I know. I know. Ugh. We should ask Justin. That's what we should ask. I don't know. We'll talk about it. We'll figure that out. That's off stream stuff. So yeah, that's gonna be it for me today, guys. I'm really happy with what we got done. We sort of planned out a cool, really dark story, and yeah, it's good. It's good. Progress is being made. Good progress. Justin is one of our friends from work. But yeah, so yeah, general closing out stuff. Losing my train of thought. You can visit accidentalorigin.com for VODs and all my contact info if you have any questions, suggestions, things that you'd like me to try on stream. I will totally listen to you guys and see what's up. You can also find VODs of my previous episodes with extra links and resources and all that kind of stuff, as well as the files and all that to read. So those will all be posted and hopefully up to date soon. I'm going to make a big drive this week to get that done because it needs to get done. And it'll be easier to maintain once it's done. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Really appreciate it. I'm going to host somebody after the stream, so stick around. I'm not sure who it'll be yet. I'll find something. Don't worry. Yeah. So without further ado, my name is Brendan. This is Accidental Origin, a weekly writing web show. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Do your thing. Write a lot. I don't know. Whatevs. Do your thing. It's fine. It's fine, guys. It's fine. All right. I'll see y'all later.